Discover card.
I'm not a Discover customer, but I'm calling about that credit scorecard. Give it to me. Give it.
Oh, sure. We give it to everyone for free.
Oh, well, that's nice. I'll go get it.
You can go get it yourself online and see your FICO credit score right there.
Great.
Hi, Nu. Can you hear me? All right. So there's a little bit of a delay with using YouTube Live. If you guys have questions, just type it in, and I'll try to get to it as soon as I can. And then we'll go at it that way. I'm trying to find out the best way to connect with people using like live stream technology. I think doing it on Facebook was okay until I figured out that you can't um, select an audience. So all the people on my friends list, they got to know the spiritual side of me, which I think some of them might be very surprised, and then some of them might be like, "What happened to Chu? This guy, um, this guy. I didn't know he was like this. I didn't know he was into the spiritual stuff." So it is what it is. Um, anyway, I don't know if people are gonna come in later, but we'll just get started. And if we end early, then we end early. And I think this will be recorded too, so people might be able to watch it later. But I will go. Well, how's the sound? Is it too loud? Is the sound um, clear, or is it? Am I too close to the microphone, or what? Can you say something? Let me know. Okay, good. Oh. Well, I just muted myself because my son was eating too loud.
Don't judge.
Yeah, so I told him to calm down on that. But anyway, oh, hi. Hi, Mary. Thanks for joining. All right, so I'm going to start doing this show right now. About the topic tonight, we are talking about signs, right? So signs, in my opinion, signs can come from all sorts of, all sorts of forms. The ones that I want to talk about tonight is the ones where it's very, very common, but we tend to take it for granted and not, um, pay attention to it. And that's when, spirit or your guides or your angels or your creator speaks through other people. For example, you'll have somebody that you haven't seen for a long time, and out of the blue, they just show up in your life again, right? And they might say some things to you that you did not expect to hear, or the things they say to you somehow relates to what you're currently going through. And a lot of the times it's because your guides are, or your creator, your angels, they're speaking through those people or through that person. And I think that's one of the most uh, signs that we take for granted, because a lot of us, the human mind and the human nature in us, we want signs as clear as like a billboard on the road, right? Or like a text message or something. I don't think spirits can text message at this point, but um, that's the kind of things that we want. And a lot of skeptics and science folks, they want those type of evidence, which is tangible evidence. Oh, I guess my son's watching me too. All right. So, um, so that's one of the signs, and it could be something like another thing where another situation where your guides are speaking through friends is when you meet them for lunch or whatever, or just bump into them, and they say things that they wouldn't have known about, and it could again relate to what you're going through, and you might think, and it might resonate with you, and whatever their message is, it'll resonate with you right away, and you might think, wow, I did not expect to hear that, and it'll have an impact on you very profoundly to just think. It provokes you to do some self-reflecting. That's when your guides are talking to you. I've had many situations where when I do readings for people, the guides speak through me, and sometimes when I'm not even doing a reading, I'm just sitting talking to somebody, and I'll find myself knowing that this is not really my thoughts. Somebody else or something is speaking through me to this person that's in front of me. Have you guys ever experienced anything like that where a friend or somebody out of the blue will give you some sort of a message that you least expected? Just say yes, or if you want to, you can actually type in an example. Well, I'll just keep talking because I think the delay here might take a little bit longer. But the signs that we are wanting to see when we get into spirituality is, again, as I mentioned before, we want something very tangible. We want something that will, um, okay, so Mary says she gets something about them. Yeah. And Nu says, I think, but I'm not sure to an extent. Okay. So the only way to explain how we get signs as you know I guess you want to call us gifted folks. When we get signs, it's experience that. Oh wow, that's pretty cool, Mary. Thanks for sharing. hmm Okay, I wanted to give an example. Yesterday, last evening, I met with the three other admins from the Hmong the empowerment page. We usually try to, well, when we first started, we met like maybe once a month, just the four of us. We would get together and just hang out, have coffee at a coffee shop. I think we usually go to Caribou Coffee. So we stopped for a while. We got busy with our own things, and then yesterday we finally got to meet up and hang out and have coffee. And we stayed at Caribou Coffee, I guess, till close. And when we got out of the shop, we were wrapping things up outside. And out of the blue, this white kid, he's probably in his early 20s. He comes by, he walks past us, and I didn't pay attention to because I was like whatever. And then about a minute later, he comes back to us, and at this point, we're still standing in front of the door. They told us that they were closing, so we left the building. And then this white kid, he comes up and he goes, "Excuse me, can I just tell you guys something?" And we're nice people, so I'm like, sure. Then he goes, "I just have to tell you that I need to talk to you. God wants me to come and talk to you guys." I mean, for anybody that encounter such a situation, it's awkward and it's kind of strange to have a stranger just approach you and say, God wants me to say something to you guys. So anyway, we were like, okay, sure. And then the kid goes, I want to pray with you guys and for you guys. So now I'm like, okay, well, I always welcome anybody to pray for me. I think prayer is always good. So then he said, okay, um, yeah, right, yeah. I was waiting for that, to be honest with you, Mary. I was like, okay, let's see if this guy all of a sudden will say, by the way, you should come check out a church or something. But he didn't do that at all. So he prayed for us. I gave him a hug, total stranger. Um, and then he started doing a reading for one of the folks that came to this coffee get together with us. And it was very, again, very out of the ordinary. And he was able to connect with that person. So she got a free reading out of the whole deal. It sounds like, and he wasn't pushing his religion or his church on us, which I thought was pretty cool. And he kept talking about how when he went to his car, he felt this urge, like God was telling him, "You need to go talk to these people." And he was fighting with himself because we were strangers. We've never seen each other before. But he was in the shop with us. He was sitting at a different table, and we were talking about all sorts of stuff. When we get together, we talk about life. We kind of update each other on how things are going within our personal lives, professional lives, and then every now and then we'll inject like spiritual talks. The whole point is to be spiritual at these meetings, but sometimes we get off on tangents and we talk about whatever comes to mind or comes up. So anyway, at one point after the guy left our group, they were saying, some of the folks, they were saying maybe he heard the conversation we were talking about, and we so he's like trying to bait us or something, and I didn't feel that at all. I felt he was genuine. He really wanted to talk to us, and to me, like, bridging that back to the topic tonight, which is signs, is this: he I believe that God did speak through him to us. um because I look at it this way: we haven't met for almost a year, the four of us, and we finally got to meet. And the messages that he was saying to us was, I think, a reminder to a few of us who are on the journey of spirituality. And oh, excuse me. And the message that I got out of that is, for me, is, and again, as I say this, please do not be offended. Excuse me, and do not think that I'm trying to push religion on any of you, okay? But my faith has always been in God, the Trinity, God, the Holy Ghost, and Jesus. And so when he said the message of put everything in God's hands, or God will take care of you, Jesus will take care of you, that really hit home to me, because I am going through some things that um, sometimes it's very hard for me to read into because I'm so emotionally invested into it. But I felt like when the guy approached us, yeah, it was the creator's way of saying, let me remind these people about what's going on, or how to help this person, remind them that I'm there. So that was very uplifting and enlightening for me. And I highly doubt we'll ever see that guy again. uh, some people can say that was an angel, some people can say that was just a coincidence, but I believe that the guy was there for a reason. So that was a sign to me. That's a sign saying God still wants us to, the four of us, to continue to meet together. And I hope that, wherever you guys live, you can find spiritual people and create like a little fellowship. I mean, that's kind of like Christian terminology, but find, or find a group and you guys can mastermind about, how to grow spiritually. So, um, like for me and the admins of the empowerment group, I think it's three girls, three ladies, and then I'm the only guy. I wish there were more guys, but that's it. This is just how it's working out and turning out, so it's whatever. But I know that they get together, they do their own girl thing too, which is great. But it's awesome to be able to hang out with them and just talk with them, because when you sit down with spiritual people who are very enlightened, you guys are able to connect in a way where you can't connect with other people on many levels. Like when I hang out with them, sometimes when they're talking to me, again, bridging this back to science, I believe that when we're talking about things and they're responding or they're giving me feedback, I wonder if they know what they're saying, or if they even understand and catch themselves saying these things to me, because it could be that it's coming from my guides, or my creator, my angels, whatever you guys want to call them, and that's the message that I need to hear from them. So, do you guys have a lot of well, I know, Mary, where you're from, but New, where are you from? Oh, you're from St. Paul. Okay, cool. Yeah. Well, if you want to, New, if you want to, if we when we do our next little hangout, if you want to come meet us, let me know. Message me, and I will make sure that I let you know when and where we're gonna meet, just so you can get to know some of us. Oh, do we? Damn. Okay. Small world. Yeah. Okay. M- Mary, do you have a lot of spiritual people that's in your area as well? Oh, okay. I think I remember you knew. You're still a closet spiritual person, Mary. That's funny. Yeah, I would totally recommend you mentoring people. And it's funny. We had a conversation yesterday, the four of us, and we were talking about um, mentoring, or sharing your knowledge with people, and it's hard to have people. No, it's hard to open up. To be open about your spiritual path and where you're going, where you've been, but I think it's, and then trying to, even when you're trying to talk about it, some people might be very they might have a pushback about it, to say, I don't know if this person is really trying to help me, or are they trying to solicit me into paying them some money for their services. But as long as you, I guess, build your own personal reputation, that you're not that that guy or that girl who's always trying to scam people, then you know they'll open up eventually, and you'll be able to connect with them. Um, I think I talked about, the message was about my dad and his little cult. Uh, he was trying to get people to join his new religion thing, and he was trying to you know promote it heavily via word of mouth, right? And I told him, it's going to turn off a lot of people. People are going to look at you and say, you're trying to convert me, you're trying to impose your religious views on me, and man, I'm not okay with that. But Dad, if you just keep being who you are, behaving in a very respectful way, people will notice and they will follow you, or they will ask more questions about how you are the way you are and why do you speak the way you do. And at that point, people will open up, and then people might start joining your cult, you know. And so the whole thing didn't turn out well for him. But that's the whole thing, you know. If you want to mentor people, certainly do that if you can. But I understand how it can be very tough too to want to put yourself out there. Like I was saying about my Facebook live sessions, I did not know that my Facebook live sessions was going to go out to my entire friend list, and because I got like a lot of views on there, and I was pretty. It wasn't a lot, but it was more than what I expected, and I was like, oh, I guess people still like the members on the page. I guess they still are interested in this content. And then I realized, shit, man, maybe it's a lot of my friends from my personal, friend list, and now, my shit is out there, and people are like, this dude, he's psychic and shit. I did not know he was like that. So I opened myself up unintentionally that way. So now I have to deal with those people when I bump into them. They're gonna probably either be supportive or they will tease me, whichever way is. It is what it is, right? Okay. So the signs, no, you talked about you had a best friend, right? That is spiritually gifted as well. Has that friend shared with you about signs and communications at all with spirits? Yeah. Would you mind sharing some of the things that you may have learned from her or him? Okay. No. Yeah, okay. So her mom that passed away is her spirit guide. Is that my understanding? Oh, okay. So I have a funny story about that. I mean, it's cool, that her mom comes and visits her and gives her signs and talks to her. That's cool, but for some people who are very like shimamena, like very chicken, right? They don't want to see anybody that has passed on, you know? So, like for example, my my parents, they were talking about they wanted to buy some land up north, right? And they were gonna buy like 40 or 50 acres, and I was kind of wondering why would they even do that? And they said, okay, we're gonna do that. So when when you guys want to go hunt or go what you would call it, just trail, hiking trails or whatever. You can come up there. And I said, okay. And then he added, especially when we pass away, then you guys can come up there and use that and for hunting. I said, all right, but don't come visit us while we're up there, because if you do, we ain't coming anymore. So but that's so cool about your friend's mom, still connect with her. A lot of people wish that they can continue to have that type of conversation or connection with other uh, folks that's passed on. But I wonder how some people, and I would imagine that some people might have a very difficult time trying to connect with somebody that passed, because it's going to be so emotional, I would imagine. So that's cool for your friend that she can do that. That's awesome. Um, so I'm going to leave the I'm going to leave it up to some questions. I have a few more minutes here, and then I have to get going. But if you guys have any questions about signs, any more questions about signs or anything else, just go ahead and type it, and then I will answer it. And please keep in mind that I tried to record this session here, so if you type in your questions, other people might be able to see it as well. So go ahead. If you don't have any questions, then I will just call it a night. But yeah, throw out some questions if you have any. Yeah, well, if you want to, you know, private message me, that's cool. Just do so, and let me know what you want to know, and then I'll do my best to answer them. But if you guys don't have any other questions, I appreciate you guys joining me. We'll see how this YouTube live session turns out. Um, if it works out well, then I'll do it again on here. But if not, I might have to create a different Facebook page where it's just, like another Facebook account where it's just strictly me and spiritual people, so that my friends don't think I'm nuts when they see me go live. So, ladies, you guys have a great evening and a great weekend. Thanks for joining me, and I will talk to you guys soon, okay? See ya. Have a good night.